Clans of Midgard, one of the newest entries into the Midgard line of games from Gray Fox Games. Draft cards, fill in your sheet, battle on a map. Let me show you how it all plays, and then I'll give you my thoughts afterwards. Alright, I'm set up for a two-player game of Clans of Midgard. Why is it a third color, you ask? I will answer that when we get to the gameplay. So each player will get the warriors of their color. I'll be playing against blue. Here's my green. Each player will get a sheet. I'm just showing my sheet. Every player will get a pencil. You're going to place the map with the correct side. So this shows 3. So this is for a 2 or 3 player game. You're going to separate the god cards by age. Shuffle them up. Take 2 god cards, put them on the bottom. 2 god cards from level 1, put them on top to create a deck of 4 god cards. You're going to shuffle a deck of rune cards, place it near the game board, and then we are ready to begin. Alright, first thing you're going to do is you are going to reveal the god card and look at it. So, Njord. At game end, Njord is worth 2 victory points plus 1 victory point for each Drakkar row you have fully marked. After you reveal the god card and everyone is sufficient in what they do, you are then going to deal 8 cards to each player. Alright, at this point I will make mention of what this yellow player is. This is Helga. This is a dummy player. You're going to deal them 8 cards as well. They are not going to participate in the drafting or anything else. These are just going to be used to put their pieces out on the board. So, now that everyone has been dealt 8 cards, you're going to look at your cards. You're going to choose one that you're going to want to take and then pass the cards on. Let me go over some of these cards really quick. So up here, you'll see your offerings to the gods. The number here is just for priority. It's not 2 offerings, it is just still 1 offering. This letter is going to correspond to what you're going to cross off in the letter spot. This is glory that you'll be adding up to possibly put in your glory track. This is the clan you support, and then where they are going to be deploying it, and then this is your Drakkars. Let's see, and then the one other symbol is its Valkyrie symbol, which we'll get into when we talk about putting stuff out on the board. So you're going to look at your hands. You'll also see monsters here. I didn't see those initially. Monsters, you're going to want pairs. So you're going to look at your hand. You're going to choose a card. Pass it over to the next player. The next player is going to choose a card. We'll just say this one. And pass their hand over this way. You're going to go back and forth until each player has drafted all the cards. After everyone has drafted 8 cards, you're going to be laying your cards out on the table. So now you are going to resolve, each person at the same time is going to resolve each part of their card in a set thing. First we are going to look at offerings. So right now I have 2 offerings. They have 1. They only have 1 offering, so I get the god card. If they also had 2 offerings, we each add up the sum of those cards. Whoever has the highest sum would get the god card. If it's still tied, it's whoever has the highest single number gets the god card. So that is the point of the numbers. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to look at clans and territories. So first thing is your offerings. Now you come down here to clans and territories. First, you are going to determine the clan you have supported the most. So you're going to look at the symbols. So I have 2 hogs, I have 2 serpents, I have 2 wolves, I have 1 raven. So now of the ones that I have 2 of, I'm going to look at the priority track, and that is going to then determine which one of these cards which one of these clans I'm going to support. So if we look, the ravens first, well that wasn't one of the 2. Then we go to the serpent. So now we look at the serpent cards. So we are going to put 1 of my warriors in green and 2 of my warriors in blue. So if we look over here, they have supported the wolves the most. So we will grab these cards. The wolves are going to put 2 in blue, 1 in purple, 1 in green. Then at this point, we are going to trigger Helga. And we are going to do the same thing for her. So then Helga's going to put 1 in red, 1 in green, and 1 in blue. And then you can set Helga's cards aside because she does nothing else with her cards. So now that you've done the offerings and you've triggered your clans, you're then going to start back up here. Any letters up here, you're going to cross off on your sheet. I am then going to look at these monster symbols. I am going to see if I have any pairs. If I have any pairs, I am going to defeat the monsters, and the points I get are right up here. So we have 2 of these, that's 2. We have 3 of these, but you can only ever kill 1 monster, so we get the 3. So that'd be 2 and 3. So up here under slain, we are going to write 5. Next, you're going to add up any glory you got here. So 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. In the first round, you're just going to write the number down here. Next round, I need to have greater than 6. If I do not have greater than 6, I'm going to write a 0. Next thing you're going to look at is your Drakkars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can now use those to cross off my ships down here. If I get next to a deployment symbol, I am going to deploy there. This you are going to do secret. You're going to just kind of cover it up and cross it off. And then if you get a deployment, you kind of just put one of your guys there because you and your opponent are doing it at the same time, so you don't want to necessarily let them know what you're doing. You're then going to look at Valkyries. So right now, my opponent has a blue Valkyrie and a yellow Valkyrie. If these areas are going to be contested, which I'm about to get into, then they will be rolling the Valkyrie die. If they are not, they will mark it off on their sheet for end of game scoring. So, if we look at the map, when you consider battle for territory, you are going to resolve it in yellow, green, blue, red, purple. In order for a battle to be triggered, the number has to be met. So we need at least 3 in here. We do not. 4 in here. We do not. 4 in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We do. So they roll the Valkyrie die. That is a symbol like that. So in that instance, they will just cross off the Valkyrie on their board. Had they rolled a 1, they would have put 1 of their warriors in there. You are then going to compare who has the greatest battle strength. It's based on number of Vikings. So I have 4, they have 3, they have 1. I win. So I put mine up in that spot right up there. They would take their 3 workers back and start crossing off Valhalla. Start going from top to bottom, left to right. So they cross off 1, 2, and 3. Seeing as I am victorious, I will take mine. We are in the blue. So I will cross off my blue, which will give me endgame points. Once we check each territory, whoever has figures up here will take them back, and you will score 1 point for each warrior. So this would give me 4 points. I would put that right down into here as 4. If this was the 4th round, we would proceed to scoring. Otherwise, what we do is we take all of the rune cards, even these ones that were set aside. We shuffle them up. And then we would start a new round, flipping over a new God card, rinsing and repeating again until the 4th round. After 4 rounds, you are going to total up your score. Starting at the top, you're going to total up any runes scores. You're going to get these by fulfilling rows or columns. Once you do, you would circle them. You'd add those all up. That goes here. You total up your slain. That goes there. You total up your glory here. You're going to total up your territories. And then for however many different ones of these you have crossed off, you'll get a certain amount of points. 1 for 1, 3 for 2, 6 for 3, 10 for 4, 15 for 5. You'll add that to up here, and that goes there. Valhalla, you're going to total up however many of these you have circled, and then based on how many Valkyries you have crossed off, you'll total all that up, and that will go right here. So that would be 1 for 1, 2 for 2, 3 for 3, 5 for 4, and 7 for all 5. You then down here will score any points for gods, such as Njord was going to be worth 2 plus 1, so right now he'd be worth 4 for me. Total all that up, and highest score is victorious. If there's a tie, whoever has the fewest Horns crossed off in Valhalla wins. If still tied, then the shared players share victory. That is how you play Clans of Midgard. Alright, so there you go. That is how it plays. Now it's time to see how it go. So let's start with inside the box. If you want to see a more detailed example of what's in the box, check up above so you can see our unboxing of the game. But as for my thoughts on the components and all the stuff that's inside that box. So the cards, they're fine quality. I wouldn't say like they're really great. They don't have that linen finish, but they do what they're supposed to do. They shuffle all right. They display the information. They're fine. The sheet that you're filling out, that's laid out well also. Each section is clearly defined on what it does. And as you just go along, it shows it no problem, well laid out. But for that sheet in the map, so when you trigger your battles, they say, start here, go to here, over to here, then up to there. I don't know why they didn't just, trigger it in a circle. And then even the order that they want you to trigger it there isn't the order that they have like the Valkyries and stuff on your sheet. I know it's a minor gripe, but it's one of those just like those little touches that would have just really felt really nice of, all right, you're going to be triggering the battles in this order. So let's go ahead and put those on the map or on your sheet in that order. That way you can just go across the line. It's just one of those little nitpicky issues I do have with it. I will say we do have the deluxe version, as you would have seen if you looked at the unboxing. So for ours, it came with little printed meeples. Those look really nice. I like the fact that they have two designs on them, a male and a female. The playmat is really good. It's nice. The neoprene, it's thick. I will say though, because you have that playmat and in that box, when you put it on there where the pads are, the mat doesn't lay flat. It's kind of up. So it does just seem a little wonky. And then it looks like they had left the cutout for the board on top for if you had the regular edition. So the insert for it worked. It just looked a little weird in there. Like I said, with the mat kind of tilted up by where the pads go, because the pads are just too wide to go this way. And it just looked like there was just a little refinement that probably needed to be done still. The rulebook itself worked really well, walked us through the game, explained everything well, laid out everything in a good order, so it was able to easily be able to understood and know how to play the game, had no issues with the rulebook. So now moving on to the two-player experience. For this one, for 2 players, you add in Helga, which is a dummy hand, but that dummy hand is only used to put troops on the board in relation to that. So you aren't having to draft cards from Helga, you aren't having to add cards, manipulate them at all. It's literally you play the drafting game, and then when you're putting troops out, you grab Helga's hand, look at it, and throw the troops on the map for Helga. And then, of course, Helga could possibly win the things and have everyone lose if that's how the people play out. I will say my one issue kind of with that, and I'm not one who typically likes in drafting games where you have to like have the hand of cards, draft one, discard one, draw one, however, but I do feel that might have been better in this relation, because what happens is all those cards are out of rotation. And for this game that needs the specific runes, if they keep ending up in Helga's hand, then you're never going to get them. You're never even going to have a chance to pass them over or see them because they're always stuck there. So not being able to get those cards in rotation somehow in a 2-player game to where they would be in a 3- and 4-player game is one of the issues I think I do have with the 2-player experience on this one. Moving on to gameplay, this one it played quick. It played simple. You know what you're looking for on the cards, so it's simply just grab a card, pass, and then once you get to the sheets, once you resolve basically the putting the troops on the map, you fill out everything simultaneously, and then you see about triggering battles. So there is a lot of simultaneous play, so there's really not much downtime, not much time you're thinking, unless the person you're playing with has a hard time choosing a card. In relation to that card layout, I guess this could kind of tie back to the whole inside the box. The card layout itself is also a little weird too, kind of like how the map, how you're like zigzagging with the card. The first thing you look up at is blessings. All right, then from there, you're going to add the troops. But then you're going to go back up and start resolving the card down until you trigger the battle. Well, now you're going to be looking at the Valkyrie. So instead of being able to just have the card, read it top down, it's read here, then down here, and then come back up here, work your way down here, and then finally you're back up here. So kind of again, that zigzagging around the card. I don't know if they could have laid it out a little bit better, where like I said, look at the blessings on top, and then your clan, and then this, and then this, and then Valkyries at the bottom. That type of thing. So I just kind of wish that was maybe laid out, because that could have made explaining the game a little bit easier as well. You're going to have your card, and you're just going to work your way top down. Instead, it's like, you're going to look here and then here. So that is one thing that could slightly trip people up with the teaching and the gameplay, is remembering the bouncing around of the card. Outside of that, though, we really did enjoy the interesting choices you have to make, because you have all those different parts of the map. Is what we found that ended up happening with us is like the first round or two, where you kind of focus on where are people going on the maps, or let's grab our monsters to score those points and stuff. And then come that third round, you're like, oh wait, so I have all these runes, now I need these specific runes. So now when you're drafting, you're looking more so for what runes do I need, and at the end you're like, oh, I don't even know what clan I supported, I was too focused on runes. So your like strategy and what you focus on switches like halfway for the third round, maybe even the fourth round. So just kind of that interesting dynamic there of being a game with only 4 rounds and relatively short, that you can have that dynamic switch right in the middle to what could be starting to sway your opinion there. Or you can even just choose, this hand I'm going to focus on this hand this hand this hand this, and see how that works out. So like I said, even with how short and only 4 rounds, there are those couple different ways of strategy. Although that did kind of start hindering us, because it's like, by the end, it's like, all right, yeah, I could win that and get 1 per troop, but it doesn't give me another territory because I've already run there. So do I not care as much about the map? So it does sometimes maybe have your peaks and valleys in regards to that. So overall, we found this fast. We found it enjoyable. It's one that Bri kept wanting to get to the table. I think it's because of the simple rule set and the way that everything's dictated on the cards and all that. It's one that we can easily remember how to play. There's not that, all right, we got to skim through the rule book, remember stuff. No, it's, deal out these cards, grab the cards, fill out your sheet. So it's kind of that whole familiarity with it, that it is so simple that it is something like after a week or two, grab it out, we remember how to play it. There's some games that even though they seem simple, we have a hard time, not necessarily remembering the rules, but you have to kind of scroll through, all right, kind of refresh it, especially when you play a lot of games. Not this one, it's one that we can easily throw on the table and just jump right into without having to do another brief rules teach or overview. If you've been watching the channel, you'll see we really enjoy drafting games. It is probably one of our top 3 mechanisms. I know Bri's really big on deck building. We both love drafting. We both love worker placement. So this kind of has that worker placement of, the cards you're drafting is putting troops out on the map. That's going to win you points. So it's kind of drafting with a tiny bit of worker placement if you want to stretch it into that. And then just those fun decisions to make of what are they going to grab, and I have this card and they don't need that rune, but it has a monster I have, but I want to grab this other card first. I'm going to pass it to it and hope that they don't see that monster and they pass it back to me. That kind of almost like push your luck element of, there's 3 cards I want. One of them will come back. Hopefully it's the one I really, really want. So overall, I will say it go good. I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. It is definitely one we enjoyed and would get to the table whenever. And it is one that we wouldn't mind busting out and teaching other people. So that is Clans of Midgard. If you play this, let me know down below what you would rate it. While you're down there, if you could go ahead and subscribe to the channel, maybe ring the bell to be alerted as we do more videos. Share this video as well. All of that stuff is appreciated. All right, so until next time, Midgard!